Hello and welcome, my sweet dear friends. It's your favorite psychic occultist, Madame President of the Artesian, Natalee. Welcome to another weekly forecast. We'll be discussing March the 7th to March 14th, 2022. Then at the end of the horoscope, we'll dive into the tarot for any more channeled messages. My channeling style is to use remote viewing, just FYI to any other psychics, tarot readers, or astrologers watching. If you're interested in additional weekly channeled messages for all of these zodiacal signs, I do extra for Capricorn because of course, daily messages, monthly tarot scopes, astrology scopes, psychic classes, astrology classes, tarot classes, and one-to-one weekly Zoom sessions with me. The Patreon is down in the description box below, so go ahead and bookmark that to read about it later. If you'd like to book one 30-minute Zoom session with me, if I can help you with any of the above, anything occulty, that is also through the website in the link in the description box below. Okay, so I can't read this and see the chat at the same time. Hello, hey Marina, welcome. Sorry, it's like an early morning. Okay, I can't read this and see your chat at the same time, so I'll try to toggle back and just pop in and say hey. Okay, but let's go ahead and get started, my loves. Ooh, I'm like startling myself looking for my pen. Here we go. Okay, so actually I will use this paper. Okay. So let's start with your remote viewing. Remote viewing into this week, your message is to affirm that if you've been listening to your heart, that you're doing it right. Because there may have been some doubts about that. There may have been some, yeah, there is a hole in my paper. There may have been some doubts about that. So, specifically surrounding judging what you're feeling and judging what you're going into, judging what it looks like on the outside or to other people. This week is breaking out of, okay, it's like you've been incubating in that cocoon. See, when you're a caterpillar, you're just like in the dirt and the ground, and it's just gross everywhere. Speaking of which, gross everywhere. It's a whole different perspective. Then you go in your little cocoon. Sorry, it's allergies. It's allergies. It's going to be a problem, I could tell. I know that's gross. I'm sorry. You go in your cocoon, and then you kind of like turn into slime, right? You turn into like slime and goopiness, and then you break out of the cocoon and you become a butterfly, and you're a whole different being. It's a whole different world. It's a whole different perspective. So, sorry, it's like my big hand there. So, that's this week. This week, you're breaking out of the cocoon and you're like, wow, I have wings. I can fly. And it's just, that's how you're feeling. That's really what it is. So, if you're a caterpillar, you can't, if you're a caterpillar, you can't judge that you're breaking out as a freaking butterfly. Now, here's what's interesting. Not everybody becomes a butterfly. Some little caterpillars turn into moths. So maybe you're a butterfly, but maybe you're a moth. Like, don't judge it though. One's diurnal, one's nocturnal. Don't judge it. Like when I came out as psychic, like I had a whole psychological thing of judging that, I was like, oh my God, I can't be an actor anymore. There goes that, and it was like a whole thing. Like you just can't judge like who you are, it's just like a thing. Anyway, back to you. This is your first flight this week. If you've been listening to your heart and choosing love, because love is the only truth. If you choose fear, then you're being manipulated. And that's the lie. The devil always lies. That's the means to control, is through fear. And we all know that already. But looking at our personal lives, it just feels a little bit different. It's easier to just look at what's happening externally and kind of, that's why it's easier to maybe help someone in a situation. But if you're in that situation, it's not always easy to see clearly because you're feeling it from the first person perspective. Okay, So Sunday coming into this week, so yesterday we had Venus and Mars enter Aquarius. Guys, doesn't it feel like a totally different vibe today? Even Sunday, you could have woken up Sunday and it's like, wow, life is changing, life is different. Life is life. So that's why. Venus and Mars are in Aquarius, and remote viewing into this energy, I'm getting, okay, I don't know if you guys saw The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler. Hilarious movie, absolutely hilarious. Like one of the best. It's like a classic. He's gone to work. He got stood up at the altar, and he's at this wedding, and he's like riffing, like he's talking to the people, and he's talking about like finding love, and he references like the mutants over at table 9. I'm sorry. It's so funny that you have to watch it. That's what I got tuning into this energy. Like I saw that scene, like I saw like oh God, here we go. Hold on, I tried to put on this chapstick so that it wouldn't come off. It feels amazing, but now I'm really old lady here with the lipstick on my teeth. So my mom calls me. But you know, it's like the mutants over at table number 9, and that's what I got tuning into this energy. And it's like you are just, there's this energy like you're one of the mutants at table number 9, or you like are like that in this Aquarian area of your life. And what this is moving forward is like either starting your own table number 9, or finding that you're at table number 9, and like from now moving forward, it's like who's with you at your table, who's with you over at table number 9. The door opened in 2020, and you walk through and you're feeling different inside. You're feeling different wants and different ideas and different choices and different needs and different people. So Mars and Saturn met at this exact same point in March 30th, 2020. So Venus and Mars are at the 0th degree of Aquarius. Mars and Saturn were at the 0th degree of Aquarius, March 30th, 2020. You're clearing your way to the future, but it's like you're clearing the debris of the past. Oh God, I'm just already falling apart at the start of this video. That's great. It's not about me, it's about the message. So I'll keep that in mind. Okay. So also Jupiter, now I'm seeing something else on my lip. Jupiter and Saturn met at the 0th degree of Aquarius, December 17th, 2020. That was spiritualizing your perspective on the future. It gave some hope, it gave some upliftment, but just not like enough, not like a lot. You were looking, your emotional, remember, spirituality is how you're going to feel based on what you believe. So that December date, December 17th, 2020, that was your beliefs are changing, how you're feeling is changing because what you're believing is changing, but it just wasn't completed. It wasn't fully ready. You still had some stuff to go through. Now here we are. Venus and Mars are at the 0th degree of Aquarius, March 6th, 2022. So now you're realizing there's a new birth happening in your life. It's like you're going, wow. It's really happening. Like it's really happening. This is something that can even really happen. It's real. It's like right there. It's right in front of me. The mutants at table number 9. Okay. Also, yesterday, Sunday, Mercury in Aquarius squared the North Node in Taurus. So the moon in Taurus also conjuncted Uranus in Taurus. That's like turning, that's a turning of the fate. That's going to happen 2 more times. I talk about it in my monthly over on Patreon. So life and fate and destiny, that was going one way, and now you're choosing different. There's just another way. There's another way to be. There's another way to live. So something pivotal kind of turned over the weekend where, guys, how did we feel about that Mars and Venus leaving Capricorn, right? And that Venus conjunct Pluto, that was very provocative. That was very cathartic. That was like something just came. You were in that for months. And I told you guys back in November that November, December, January, February, those 4 months was like a whole block of time. That was like a whole, its own little era. And that the year wouldn't feel like it was really starting until like the beginning of March. And here we are. So anyway, now you're breaking out of the cocoon. It's like you had a 4-month gestation. He's growing this thing for 4 months. It's at least it's not like 9 months, but anyway, it's 4 months. So that was yesterday. That's giving you some context. That we're still in the new moon in Pisces, so every day the moon gains and increases in more light. It's going to build up to the full moon. That's an every month thing, except this new moon in Pisces last Wednesday was conjuncting Jupiter. That's really rare. That's a new moon in Pisces conjunct Jupiter in Pisces is like a 1 in 10 year event. It's a once in a decade. So it's a double-bodied sign. There's extra duality here. There's like this whole other path, another sign of duality, the little fishies. So you have to choose not to go there just as much, and just like you have the free will to choose heaven. Whatever you're believing now. Okay, here's the thing. This is why, okay, so when I remote viewed into this, it was like your heart. Following your heart. Some people got it in 2020. Some people got it March 2020. Some people maybe got it December 2020. Some people are getting it now. Everyone's at different levels of consciousness. And so it's okay if you miss the off-ramp. Maybe you wait another 20-year cycle. Maybe you wait another 10-year cycle. Maybe you wait another, if ever. But that's why you never have to really worry about anyone, because we all die. That's part of it. It's necessary. Everyone's going to die, and we're all going to figure it out. We're all going to know, like, oh, that's what it was. That's what it was about. That was the opportunity that I had. That's where I wanted to learn. That's what, So, like, everything's okay. So, whatever your belief, that's why it's really important to go with the heart right now, especially right now. Because you don't want to do anything out of fear. You don't want to do anything out of what other people are thinking of you. Like all of this energy, all this Aquarian energy has been setting you up to be original and unique and avant-garde and the future. Like your heart is feeling the future, intuiting where your world is going. You're already there. Energetically. So don't be afraid of the physical things. Don't be afraid of what is catching up. Let's take the media right now. I'm going to use an example. Because whatever your belief, there's something you're believing right now. You're either the dual-bodied sign, you're either making the fear real to you or you're making the love real to you. Let's take the media, the reporting, the facts, the stories, the fallacies, the perspectives, the skewing one way or another way or another way or another way. None of that will be clear until November of this year, November 2022. So something that is going on right now is going to get a harsh correction in November 2022. It's not what you thought it was, or it wasn't what it was going to be, or it's not going to work out like you imagined. My only exception to this is if you're consciously channeling this creatively. If you're being creative on this energy, because this is energy where you just like want to believe. You want to create from your imagination. You want to build on. That's like one of my favorite uses of this. You want to use it either spiritually or creatively. So if you're using this creatively, then it could mean that something works out even better than you imagined. Like you're doing something now where like, oh, this is going to be very financially profitable. This is going to be, people are going to love this. People are going to respond really well to this. Come November, you might find out that either it balloons the profits even bigger than your highest projection. Or maybe you're presented with some kind of award or some kind of accolade or multiple accolades, and something is just like, if you're following that's your confirmation, by the way. If you're following your heart and you're following your guidance, that knows the future. That is trying to set you up for down the road. So that's the whole thing. It's like, trust in being in a gooey cocoon and that you're a butterfly or you're a moth. There's no judgment. But just trust that that's exactly right and that it's exactly correct. Otherwise, if you're doing things right now out of fear, if you're taking this new moon in Pisces conjunct Jupiter and you're making the fear really big for you and you're making the fear really real for you, and it's unconscious, a lot of people are doing this unconsciously, it can lead to disillusionment in November and a deep sense of regret that you missed a wonderful opportunity end of February, beginning of March of this year. And like, November is going to feel, and it's Scorpio season, so it's always going to be intense. It's always going to be very transformative. So how are you going to guide yourself to feel? I'm trying to set you guys up for November already. This is like what we do here. So, I'm just, how do you want to feel in November? Follow your heart now. And don't be afraid of anything. Don't be afraid of anything. Be the mutant at table number 9. I can't get into a movie digression. Okay. Oh, okay. So I also found the replacement for the inner child. As you guys have been watching, it just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't resonate. It just doesn't, I can't take it seriously. So I figured, I just kind of tuned into it, and I have subliminal self. So whenever I refer to the subliminal self, I'm referring to what people call the inner child. I like subliminal self because you guys have already been hearing me talk about how your subconscious is programmed from mom's last trimester of pregnancy to when you're 7 years old. So your subliminal self, that's you. So when you have a feeling coming up that is scared, that is fearful, it's probably your subliminal self that did not get encouraged. Ooh, my weird little arm. That's so long. That needed encouragement, needed a safe space to just be, or needed to just be validated for that feeling of fear, and maybe you were pushed through it and you were pushed past it and you never got to feel that fear come up and process it and then feel better about it and heal it. So now you're an adult and you're trying to like live your life, and that fear comes up, and that subliminal self is like having that fear come up, but you're pushing it down and you want to push through that, just like that old other experience. But if you reparent yourself and you let that fear come up and feel it and understand it and talk to it, and either giving it the nurturement of like the mother archetype or the positive solarizing encouragement and confidence as the father archetype, however you treat that feeling when it comes up, is you reparenting yourself. But that's your subliminal self. That's in your subconscious. Your conscious chooses your own thoughts. When you receive a thought, when you receive an image, when you receive a feeling, when you receive something, that's the subconscious. That's your subliminal self. Now, if you're psychic, maybe it's somebody else's thought. Maybe it's somebody else's feeling you're feeling in your body, but that's another talk for another time. Subliminal. It means below the threshold of sensation or consciousness, perceived by or affecting someone's mind without their being aware of it. 1873, from the Latin stem of sublime, a loan translation of German unter der Schwelle. From Latin sublimis, uplifted, high, borne aloft, lofty, exalted, eminent, distinguished. I find this etymological backup to this word very interesting, because here you have unter der Schwelle, under the threshold, but getting underneath actually means aloft. It actually means uplifted, exalted, eminent, distinguished. So it's all this guidance in our words, in our etymology. Going unter der Schwelle, going underneath, actually brings you up high. Ohne dich kann ich nicht sein, ohne dich. get to what's underneath in order to ascend, essentially. Okay, downloads. I've been hearing this voice for about, I think maybe like the past 10 days or so. I've been hearing this voice saying, now that's more like it. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I wanted. Since last, and I think it came up in either Scorpio or Leo's reading, like the past week for the weeklies, but it's very like resounding. It feels more like a collective channeling, so I'm just going to put it here just in case it comes up in the tarot after this. Also, Saturday, March 5th, this past Saturday, I had a download about something like hand to your heart, or pulling something close to your heart, pulling something close to your chest, holding like maybe a memento close to your chest, something being brought close to your heart or close to your chest, or feeling like the warmth kind of spreading in your chest. It's love energy, so it's like very, very positive. Okay. Before we get into the week, I want to check in on the chat. Hey, chat. Hey, everybody. Yes, we are live. Aww. Grand Rising, gorgeous guys, and Natalie, thank you for coming on. I love you guys. Morning, everybody. Okay, and I'm also going to have a little treat for you guys. I'm going to be more active in posting on the YouTube account, like the little community tab. You're gonna get a little goodie, little freebie today. So keep an eye out for that. And hold on. We read the omens here. Somebody's fire went out. That spark. That's it. That's the spark. It's in you. Let me light you back up here. Oh, we have Berlin with us. Okay. Oop. Hold on, let me fix this. Bear with me. Vielen Dank. Okay. Ooh, we're doing good here. Monday, February. Oh, no, March. Sorry. March. I wrote February. March 7th. Making the right productive decisions. So that's today. Okay, so let's start with the moon in Taurus conjuncting the north node in Taurus. The north node, Rahu. This is where you are feeling this hunger, this drive, this impetus, this like it's devouring. The north and south node are very strong. So the fact that the moon in Taurus, no less, is already a very hungry sign conjuncting your north node, there's a hunger to make something happen. Consciously, a will to develop your inner resources in whatever area of life this is. So you want to cultivate self-confidence, self-assurance, or you will feel this like, I want to eat it. Like you see something you like, and even if it's not edible, you just like want to eat it. You want to like put it in your mouth. You just want to immerse yourself in love and art and beauty to cultivate a very good earthy feeling, like satiated. You want to be very satisfied. So, before you're very satisfied, you are freaking hungry for something. Like you're like, I want it. And it's like good to feel that way. We like to feel that. We like to feel the hunger because we like to feel it satisfied. So you're definitely going to be like into it. So unconsciously, something can be made aware to you of something that you're lacking, like where you're not getting satiated, where you're not being fed, essentially. And you could feel something about that. Also today we have the moon in Taurus squaring Mercury in Aquarius. So similar to how Sunday felt in changing your destiny, things are not going to be going along that certain path anymore since over the weekend. you might communicate some of the things that have been going on under the surface, unter der Schwelle. And it might just come up. It might be like, it might be necessary to talk about it or to communicate it, something like that. Consciously, you open your mind to a whole new way to live and be. You continue to open up those parts of you that were very stagnant and stuck before March 2020. So it's like not really wanting to move out of your spot because you're so comfy, even though it's better for you. Unconsciously, people will resist changing their mental patterns because they don't want to leave an emotional comfort zone. So you can either work on trying and changing your own attitude to look forward and embracing what's new and different and giving it a chance, or you will be very resistant to changing at all, because that's fear though. That's like, I don't want to leave what I have because I'm possessive and I want to possess it. Okay, Moon in Taurus sextiles Jupiter in Pisces. So consciously, you can use this energy to see an opportunity. Try to cultivate faith in the truth of your feelings. Optimism that everything will be okay, and to expand your emotional seat of security and following through. You want to live a life that you've never lived before. Unconsciously, people will make the fears of leaving their comfort zone even more real to them. So, like at this time especially, everyone's creating, there's that duality. It's very fertile and very imaginative, but people misuse their imaginations all day, every day. And they make the wrong things very real to them instead of trying to make better things very real to them. But when you're in the fear and you're in the lies and you're in the lies you tell yourself and you're not even trying, you miss opportunities. They just, you just miss them. Moon in Taurus squares Saturn in Aquarius. So I would like you to consciously decide that fear is not going to get the better of you. That's how I'm guiding you guys. But unconsciously, other people will react very possessively from a place of hoarding their relationships and their possessions. That's what fear looks like. Like when people were hoarding, like getting all the toilet paper and like that, like that's definitely like the sacral chakra. That's fear. And it's okay, like if you did that, like we're not passing judgment on any of that stuff. That's just something to know, like something to know about yourself and what was happening when Saturn and Mars, lockdown, world changes, fear, confusion. Mercury was retrograde at the time, like I think in Pisces, it was just like a whole thing. So kind of like that, how at that time, like things were going to be revealed more clearly later on. That's kind of like right now. So you're either going to feel like you want to clamp down and really resist everything, or your heart's already like in the future and everything else is going to materially catch up to it. But the square means that it's going to be an adjustment. So you can use the tension of the astrology to try and overcome your own resistance. That's why I say really appreciate the struggle. Appreciate the struggle between ignorance and illumination, because it makes your victory parade that much more satisfying, that much more rewarding, because you knew how hard it was. You knew what you were up against. And your subliminal self is going to be like, yeah, we did it. Okay. Tuesday. writing February for these all of them? I think I did. March 8th. Natalie. I've been kind of dopey on this Pisces new moon since last Wednesday, you guys. Who was I telling last week's weekly? I don't remember. It was somebody, but I was like the day after the new moon, I went to, in the morning, go to the bathroom, and I was washing my hands, and I went to pump the, the liquid dispenser, but I went for the lotion right next to it. And so there I am, like, la 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 la. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, this is really slippery. And then I look, and I've just been washing my hands with lotion. Today's makeup was just like absolutely ridiculous. So everything. So I'm like, I'm just gonna wear a robe, and it's not about you, Natalie. It's about the message. So, why was I saying any of that? Okay, March 8th, Tuesday, tomorrow. It's on like Donkey Kong. So tomorrow, March 8th, the moon in Taurus squares Mercury in Aquarius. So today it's Saturn, tomorrow it's Mercury. Consciously, don't worry about this. This is going to get resolved I think Wednesday or so. But consciously, you'll find your emotional footing welcoming in new ideas, new people, new ways of life. Different. You can reconcile it. Unconsciously, people will want to ostracize what they don't understand to validate their own willful ignorance. So when you see someone criticizing, and I don't care what it is, whatever they're criticizing, just criticizing, knocking it down, going to bats about it, that kind of ostracizing is attacking what is making them feel very insecure. And they need to do that to validate their own position. Otherwise, you don't care. When you're confident, you don't care to convince anybody else. For instance, I will give my body back one day. I will die. I have like so much amount of time to teach what I have to teach, to give love, to give all of myself, to do what I'm here to do, for the people that already know, for the kids that already grew up haunted, for the people that already see ghosts and spirits and already get psychically attacked and already have paranormal stuff happening. It is a waste of my life to try and convince someone that they live their lives and their egos and their entire existences attacking me, attacking people like me, attacking astrology and psychism and tarot and the occult to validate who they are, that they will never change. It's a waste of me. It's a waste of every moment that I would give to anything over there. It takes moments and energy away from the people that need me to help them ascend, to get their own power. I'm here to empower. And people just need like a little bit of guidance. It's not okay. Here's my own personal. Here's what I think about ascension and spiritual awakenings and guides and mentors. It's going to take long. Okay. So here's the thing. You either grow up with experiences. You either grow up haunted in a haunted house. You either grow up seeing shadow people and ghosts. Or you grow up with your bed shaking. You grow up with supernatural spiritual experiences. Or maybe something happens to you in your adult life. Maybe you have a near-death experience. Maybe you start to see things. Maybe your ability starts to wake up. There can also be a crisis in your adult life. Maybe your child dies. Maybe there's a huge death in the family. Maybe you're just going through a personal crisis. Maybe you're just, having some kind of horrible issues or patterns that you can't break out of. There's a crisis. Okay. All of those things get you curious to start on the path of looking for the truth. The truth about life, the truth about existence, the truth about you, your life, your existence, what you're going to make of it. You want the truth to explain how you feel, to explain what you're going through, to explain what someone else is going through or has gone through. That leads you to finding other people, maybe your tribe, maybe making new friends, maybe reading and just somehow connecting, or online you get to connect with other people. And if you stay on that path long enough, you do attract and vibrationally come into alignment with mentors. Maybe it's one mentor for the whole time. Maybe it's a bunch of different mentors. Maybe it's a mentor for this and a mentor for that. But these mentors are only there to help you connect with your own higher self, your own spirit guides. They're only meant to, this is not like the church where you go to them for your spiritual validation. No. These mentors are here to support you and your abilities. And when you can tell the difference between a mental thought, an emotional feeling, a spiritual download, when you can separate your consciousness from your body and astral travel, if you want to learn that, if you want to learn to remote view and you know how to remote view and you know when you're doing it and you know what it feels like, if you whatever those skills, talents, and abilities that you can cultivate, if you are a medium and you can do mediumship and the mentor helps you with that, whatever it happens to be, that's when you're done with the mentor. That's when they've given you all of those things to help you reintegrate those skills, talents, and abilities with yourself. When you are talking to your spirit guides and you're talking to your higher self directly, that's when you don't need the mentor anymore. And your friends, you go out for coffee and go out to like a movie or something. But like, that's for me, from doing this for how long I've been doing it and for my personal experience, that's how I think it should go. That was all in the moon in Taurus, squares Mercury in Aquarius. That's funny. Okay. Let's continue on. That was for somebody. Somebody definitely needed to hear that. So, okay, moon enters Gemini. And if you have any questions about that, email me thefirstartigan@gmail.com, or if you have something happening in your life, we can do a Zoom session, whatever's going on. Of course. Sorry, I really like this nail polish, and I'm like, it's nice and sparkly. It matches the cards. Okay. So moon in Gemini and trines Mars and Venus in Aquarius. This is tomorrow on Tuesday. You're going for it. Remember, Tuesday, it's on like Donkey Kong. You're going for it. This moon in Gemini trining the Mars and Venus in Aquarius, air signs. I love it. Carpe that diem. Carpe that diem. You only live once. Sign on the dotted line. Like, listen. When I write a script, I write it like I'm going to die that night. Like I am just going to pass away. Goodbye, cruel world. Take my last breath. Adieu. It's the alpha and omega of all that I am, all that I have been, and ever will be until my last breath. So whatever you are doing, like you just want to give it your all in life. And that's why you want to follow your heart. Like, you don't want to like know what your heart is going towards. Like, oh my God, I need to leave this job. And then you get fired and then you're like doing everything like half-assed. That's what fear is gonna stunt you that way. So you just want to go balls to the wall. You want to give it your all. That's why the confidence is so, so important. And that's why remote viewing into your week, it was like, wow, no, like confirm to them, like follow your heart, follow what you're feeling. And always what I say, like what I tell my acolytes when I'm mentoring, like with the psychic ability, is to test it. Like, how do I know what this is? How do I know what that is? How do I know what I'm saying? How do I know what I'm getting? You test it. All of my techniques that I teach you guys, test it. I always test you. I always have you test it. But it is, I guess, a little test, psychic slip. Test it. See that it's working for you. See how it works for you. That's the only way that you're going to believe yourself and trust yourself, is when you test your abilities, you test the astrology, when you test everything. So test this heart and see it working for you. You need to build up that confidence. Okay? How are you going to talk to your higher self if you're always doubting what they're saying? Listen to them, test it. Not if they're telling you to go hurt people, or if they're going to tell you to go, don't do that. And then don't tell them when you're sitting in the jail cell that, oh, Natalie told me to do it. No. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay. Oh my God, this is hilarious. Okay. So remote viewing into the moon in Gemini trines Mars and Venus in Aquarius. Do you know what I got, you guys, psychically? Pull up a chair to table number 9 because there's a new mutant. I heard it and I saw it it was like flashing across my screen. This did come up in a very old channeling, like maybe 2019 on the YouTube, but I got Google gobble, one of us. Google gobble, one of us, we accept her. Google gobble, one of us. So I just feel, me and my old ladiness, I just feel like there's something, sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm like getting all goofy. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know. I think that's someone I'm channeling. But that's what I'm getting. I'm getting Google gobble, wanna. Now I'm getting it in my head. But I saw that and I haven't been able to watch a movie like in 3 years. But I mean, I've watched like maybe a couple. But that's what I got. If you know, comment below if you know what that's from. It feels really good though. It feels really good. Okay, also, reincarnation is 100% fact. It does not mean that it gives you a pass to delay your lessons or procrastinate your growth. That's not what it means. That's also what I got from that. Okay. Yeah, I did write February. Totally. Okay. Oops. Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday, I'm calling it walking the spiritual line. This is a big deal because Mercury enters Pisces. Don't try to make it make sense. Don't try to make it logical or rational sense. Not on a Pisces. You're going to be trying to like wash your hands with the liquid soap and you're going to get the lotion and you're going to be like discombobulated. You're going to try to do your wings and it's going to get all messed up. You're going to try to do lipstick and it's going down your teeth. It's just anything that precise is just not it's not going to go. You won't be able to. And that will lead you to the fear and the doubt and the paranoia for those less conscious. You just really, Mercury is a very precise energy. Hermes, Apollo, it's a very precise energy. It wants to know. It's that energy of remembering your dream in the morning. It's the energy of transmuting information back and forth. But to convey, the word convey means to bring water, like from the river, up to the campsite. To bring something from one place to another. So if I'm trying to talk to you, I'm trying to convey something. I'm trying to take something inside of me, inside of my heart or inside of my mind and put it into you, into your heart, into your mind. Now I have like a special talent with this because I'm a writer. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is that with Mercury in Pisces, Pisces is all about like not having boundaries between the real world and other dimensions, the invisible dimensions that we don't see with our naked eye. So to combine these two elements together, for instance, how is that writer supposed to write about something that takes either an expert level of imagination to create something that's not there, or to write about something that is let's take like a very technical writer. Let's take like a textbook for laboratory, scientific. You can't take that kind of a writer, a technical writer, and give them an assignment to write about, I don't know, I can't even think of an example. But you can't ask them to write about something that is having them use like that total other part of their brain. You can't ask them to write about maybe a love story. Love stories need an element of pure imagination. Not the misuse of imagination where it's lies and deceit. Pure imagination, because when people fall in love, they are making their own private world with each other. And no one knows what that world is really like except those two. And it's only going to be as great as the lowest imagination. It's only going to be as fulfilling as the least imaginative of the two. So, if someone has a very strong love nature and the other one is really cynical, that's a bit of a challenge. Maybe one doesn't want to be in love. Maybe life is just a totally empty experience for them. So it's just with Mercury and Pisces for the next 3 weeks, because they're going to fly through Pisces, it's just not going to make, if you're the very logical and rational, you might be frustrated with yourself because you're going to be pumping the soap with lotion and washing your hands with lotion. You're going to be frustrated with other people because they're going to have a difficulty conveying what they're feeling. Remember, there's terabytes of information in one feeling, in one emotion. So if people have difficulty communicating and understanding over the next 3 weeks, it's almost like Mercury retrograde, where people are just going to be, you could probably draw a picture and show it to them and they'll be like, got it. Better than trying to explain to them and give them bullet points and give them an outline and give them, a list. So take the pressure off of yourself to get super... Your only confidence of what you know is going to be through your intuition. You're not going to be... You don't have the numbers yet. You don't have the facts and the figures yet. That's not coming till November. So listen. You've got to always follow your heart, right? You always should be following your heart and your intuition. This is when I say to you guys to test it, because you're either going to be right or you're going to get a lesson that sharpens your intuition, that sharpens your abilities, and you're going to learn what you needed to learn in order to do that. So don't be afraid. Only be afraid of your own ignorance. Only be afraid of what you don't know. Only be afraid of what you're hiding from yourself through your cognitive dissonance and through your ego. That's going to be the subliminal self. That's going to be the shadow self. Those unhealed parts of you that are going to come and bite you. And you're going to think it was somebody else or the world, or be so resistant to seeing that it was you that caused all this pain to yourself that you won't be able to accept that. You won't be able to cope with that. It'll be so big that you won't be able to learn from that anymore. You'll be, people will die on that hill. Okay. So with Mercury and Pisces, consciously your best option is to go spiritual, healing, or creative. Maybe all three. Maybe go really spiritual and heal yourself in a very creative way. Or a creative project that could be very healing for you. Very healing. Trust your creative intuition. Don't question it. Just let it flow through you. And see what you come up with. Because Mercury and Pisces, you might, like in a conversation, don't try to over-structure it. You might find the right solution, or you might find the right turn of words completely on accident, completely through the flow of conversation. So just it's like riffing. Like, just don't identify with every single thing that you're saying, because your ego's on it and it kills the creativity. Just let it flow. Like, especially if you're like a songwriter or a musical or anything, like, just let it flow. Then you can channel. Then you let go of some of that and you're able to let something else flow through you. And you get the divine joy of feeling what that feels like, to channel something divine, to channel something wonderful and beautiful. I don't know if you guys ever created something that was truly precious to you, like an artistic project that you were just really proud of, but you consider it an honor, an absolute honor. Like, this is why I have a body, is to experience the sensation of getting these ideas, of manifesting these ideas, of getting this down. The moon in Gemini also squares Jupiter and Pisces. You've got to hold the spiritual line. It's a spiritual line you've got to hold, because there's going to be criticism, petty, small, inconsequential bullshit that tries to poke holes in what you know in your heart is right. Don't let them win. Simple as that. It's a boundary. It's a boundary. It's a spiritual boundary of not allowing anyone else to degrade or tear down or minimize what is absolutely precious to you. Consciously, you've got to keep your power with you, and your mind, you've got to keep your mind stronger than their opinions. They're just petty because they can't do anything to stop you. They can't change your destiny. All they can do is distract you and try to trigger something in you to turn against yourself. That's why it is petty. Petty means like small, insignificant. When you let that get to you, then you're just changing your life to serve that. Unconsciously, people will take the bait and get into internet fights, political fights, or they'll waste their energy in pettiness, the tedium of the minutia of inconsequential filler. Poetic. Thursday. The 10th. Feeling life has definitely changed. Oh, okay, so it's the quarter moon in Gemini on Thursday. This is a waxing, gaining in light quarter moon in Gemini. There's an impetus to take action. This is a crisis in action here. So it's like you will be feeling like leading up to Thursday, like this big push to act and to do something, to deliver communication, to verbally say something, to redraw your own personal society. Maybe the meeting's over at table number 9. You're separating from a former destiny. You chose that destiny. You chose that other destiny that you're separating from, and you're choosing again. That's all. Maybe you thought you chose to be a caterpillar, and you didn't know that you were in a cocoon. And then you're like, or maybe you were a caterpillar, and you're like, I'm going to be a butterfly. Do-do-do-do-do, going in my cocoon, do-do-do-do-do. And then you come out and you're a freaking moth. It's not warm anymore. Where was I? Oh, that's right. Okay, so the moon in Gemini trines Saturn in Aquarius. There's energy for your adjustment to concretize a group or group dynamic, or make adjustments to reduce or say no to implement rules of some kind. So this is like social rules, social dynamics. And I had the girls this weekend. It was so wonderful. It was. I hope you guys had a great day on Saturday with on the 5th with the Sun Jupiter Cazimi, because that's like you're setting a whole year's cycle for you. I planned to have the girls that day, and we just had a freaking blast. I made them dinner, dessert, and then we watched The Exorcist. They're 13. They're both 13. So, it was everything I wanted. It was film, it was creative, it was children, it was everything. It was absolutely perfect. But I told them, I don't even have rules like at my apartment, but I have movie rules. No phones, no distractions, lights out. And so, it's a long movie, but they did it. They did it. It was really fun. They're great. They're great people. That's the thing. Kids don't get any respect. Kids, little toddlers, I know, I get it. They're at a different level of consciousness, but, they're people. They're people. I just remember being that age and being like, man, you're not respecting me like at all. I said the adults around me, so it was fun. It was way fun. Okay. Oh, that's right. Movie rules. So for me, over here, there's movie rules. In my place, if you're coming over to my house to watch movies with me, there's rules. That's Moon in Gemini, Trine, Saturn, and Aquarius. People in my tribe, they're going to be like, okay, let's all put our phone in the phone bucket, out of the room, and let's just turn all the lights off and we'll pay attention to this movie. So I'm like the guy at The Exorcist. I'm like the detective in there. He's like, do you go to films? Want to critique? Want to discuss? I'm just like that guy. Also, there's a really hilarious joke in that movie where the friend of the priest is putting him to bed after his mom dies, and he's taking off his shoes, and it's hilarious. He's like, "What are you stealing my shoes too?" And he's like, "No, I'm a fortune teller. I read the creases." It was hilarious. It's so funny. But that's actually true. Like every psychic is different. Every psychic has different abilities. Everyone's kind of like the X-Men, where it's like maybe some people I'm remote viewing, maybe some people are mediumship, maybe some people look at shoes and see creases. Maybe some people read the tea leaves or look at coffee, or it's like everybody. So it's kind of just funny. But that's Moon in Gemini, Trine, Saturn, and Aquarius. Is that if they're your people, they're gonna get that. And though the girls were good, they weren't like, no, they were totally perfect. They totally went with the flow. It's a good sign. So that's that. Moon in Gemini squares Neptune in Pisces. Consciously you can believe in a different future. You can give it energy. You can energize a different hope and really feel a different possibility for your life. It's like separating what you want and don't want to feel, and then physically separate yourself from people, devices, services, and situations accordingly. So unconsciously, the fear of change will get the better of some people, and they will make whatever their fears are very real to them. A lot of this is fear. Distance. Okay, so if you're disconnecting from certain, what did I say, people, devices, services, and situations accordingly, you're like, this is not my vibe. I'm not feeling this anymore. Other people might get more paranoid. They might get more neurotic. They might just tweak out. And you see people people will go out and find a conflict with something because they've got something inside of them, right? So they're going to make their fears very real to them. Distance yourself from those people. Not forever, but just distance yourself so that you don't catch it, so that you don't get embroiled in it, especially if you're sensitive. If you're having a great day and your roommate comes home and they're just fuming about how someone almost hit them coming home from work, or that they heard something on the radio, or they, and bringing all this like energy that disturbs your peace and disturbs what, like, maybe you're like painting a picture and you're in a creative flow and you're listening to great music and they just totally like disturb your vibe. Go in the other room and lock the door. You know, you don't want to pick up anyone else's negativity or fears. It's just sad when it gets to be between people, because then they're going to be like, well, aren't you mad? Aren't you thinking about this? Why aren't you feeling this bad like I feel? You know, and they get real, then it gets to be a problem. You know, and it's not fun. It's not great. So yeah, and the moon is void, enters Cancer. Then we're really feeling feelings. You'll begin to feel the internal world swishing from all the changes happening. Subconscious healing, physical manifested changes, how you've maybe surprised yourself. So especially if you've been building these last couple of weeks, if you've been like on the cutting edge and you've been making changes and you've been healing and you've been looking at yourself, like that Venus being there for 4 months, November to like last week, that was a huge push. There was a major end to some big light surgery that you were doing in the Capricorn area of life, and you made a decision. You came out the other end on one side or the other side. So you're building on that, and you're going to be feeling the results of that. You're going to be feeling all of how your internal world is continuing to swish around and change because of how the healing really looks, because it's not going to look like what you think it's going to look like. It never does. Wow, really? Friday. I swear I thought this was going to be a shorter one, shorter week this week. Okay, I'm calling Friday Psychic Access. So the moon in Cancer trines Mercury in Pisces. God, people are going to cry. That's good. It's good to cry. It's good to purge. I'm just saying, like, this is going to be like a very emotional week. Everything kind of this week pops off like the middle to the end. Okay. Moon in Cancer trines Mercury in Pisces. Feelings, how you're feeling. Feelings are informing you of everything important the entire weekend, beginning Friday. Emotional processing is giving you greater access to your subliminal self and your psyche. Everything's through the feelings. All the information is conveyed through the feelings, okay? Consciously, you want to be compassionate with whatever feelings come up and be compassionate with others, possibly forgiving. If you need boundaries, they go up. If you need boundaries, they're being erected out of compassion and love for everyone in the situation. So trust that. Trust that those boundaries are good for like everybody. Now, but also the boundaries with yourself. Like, you're not going to feel this way. You're not going to feel guilty for so-and-so. If someone, you know, you're not going to take on the responsibility of someone else feeling a certain way or feeling better about something, you know, because it could be, people might be super martyry at this time. Like, people could be super guilt trippy. People could be super in their own delusion of persecution. They might make you the persecutor and they're just a victim of everything all the time. And it's a huge energy drain. It's a huge energy drain, and you don't need that in your life. You can still love them, but from afar. Unconsciously, people will be feeling intensely. Everyone's going to be feeling intensely, so how are we all reacting to that? They'll be feeling intensely, but will be identifying with whatever it is that they're feeling. So they won't be self-observing. They're just going to put their ego on that feeling, and then just like, that's just who they are, and that's just how it is. The moon in Cancer squares Chiron in Aries. Deep wounding may be extra accessible. Consciously, you'll want to integrate what you've learned from when you've allowed low self-esteem and a lack of nurturing yourself, that lack of perhaps reparenting yourself, and how that's led you to bad situations, bad relationships, and integrate that wisdom. Just like children's movies have adult jokes kind of laced in, and you don't get that when you're a kid. And you look, maybe you watch the same movie later and you're like, wow, that was really... I feel like that about Clueless. Like when I was a kid watching Clueless, I was like, you know, and then I had no idea how smart that movie actually is until I got older. I'm like, that's a pretty smart movie. So, you know, it's like, that's what spiritual growth and consciousness and evolution and growing up in the process of maturation, spiritual maturation, that's what it's like, is that you look at former experiences and you see more of what was actually going on. You only need to feel the pain until you get the lesson. When you get the lesson, you integrate that into wisdom, and then you let it go. You let yourself go. You let yourself off the hook. Don't keep feeling bad about something forever. That's getting into martyr territory. And feeling self-sorry forever and feeling crummy forever. Once you get the lesson, remember, a mistake is not a mistake if you learn from it. If you learn from it, it therefore becomes a lesson. Each lesson is like a feather in your cap. When you have lots of feathers, you become a chief. Gotta tell that to the babies. Okay? And you. Getting right to your subliminal selves. Unconsciously, on a moon in Cancer squares Chiron and Aries, unconsciously, people may re-enter cycles of pain because it's almost too painful to change. I always tell you guys, the healing hurts more than the wound, believe it or not. They don't want to reparent themselves. They're too comfortable feeling sorry for themselves, or they're too comfortable casting someone else as a perpetrator. So we just sign up for a new version of the same pain, really. That's what we do. You know, it's a different person, but they're just like your ex, and it's just the same. So, I'm trying to find a better. Okay. So that was Friday. Saturday. Oh, Saturday. I'm calling it Manifesting Camelot. If you want. You have to choose it just like you have to choose heaven. Saturday the 12th. The Sun conjuncts Neptune in Pisces. Guys. The ego has to dissolve in some area of life. You have to kind of calm yourself, you know, soften those edges. Consciously, you will level up your spirituality. You will create heaven on earth. You will create your own Camelot. Whatever that means to you, whatever that looks like to you, whatever that feels like to you. And it begins with elevating your spirituality, which is deciding how you're going to feel based on what you believe. You're in your own vortex. You're in your own dimension. And it's about, you know, who's going to be there with you with this Mars, Venus, and Capricorn. Google gobble. You should feel lighter, more peaceful, and protected from other people. Mental peace. Because when you don't let what all those opinions and all that noise and all that chatter get to you, then you get to enjoy your life. You get to enjoy the world that you're creating for yourself. That's the point. That's the point. Unconsciously, people that are all like just running the program, people are going to show you their Messiah complex, their victim consciousness, their victim mentality, their martyr syndrome. Any kind of self-delusion and fears, complexes, anxieties, worries, insecurities are going to show very, very strongly and very, very clearly. Watch people's social medias. They're going to be compulsively sharing, compulsively posting, compulsively saying all kinds of whatever. Everyone will project their spirituality on their own faces and their bodies and through their words and actions, as if we're walking billboards for it. I think it's very interesting that I got such weird downloads about Instagram before I got off. And it was before a lot of toxic stuff came up on Instagram, and like really big, it was before a lot, and then some other things came up about what was changing, about the change they were making. And so it's like I felt it, and it was like an energy drain that I didn't really realize until once when I went private, and then when I got off. So I think it's just perfect timing, absolutely perfect timing. So I'm actually going to be probably getting off Twitter. It's just going to be YouTube, Patreon, and TikTok until we get our own. I have the website, but until it's that's what we're going to be for now. Okay, so where was I? The Messiah complex, the victim conscious, all that stuff. People are going to be, and that's normally what it is. It's normally, but it's just going to be very heightened Saturday. It's just, from this week leading up to Saturday, more and more. If people are really scared and fearful or feeling whatever, it's going to be even more strongly projected. And so it's like, this is what it's going to be. Remember, 2 dimensions are open right now. You want to vote love, truth, and integrity. And then live on that. Live on that. Live on that. Okay? You want to choose it, and then you want to live on it. Because all stress and anxiety boils down to what you really believe. What do you really, really, really believe? What do you really believe? And then live on that. You really believe in love? You really believe in self-expression? You really believe in creativity? Live on that. Everyone's testing out their spirituality and their art of living every day, all day, whether they do it consciously or not. Okay, here's what I love about Saturday. There's a grand water trine. So it's like that. It's like a nice big grand water trine. The moon in Cancer trines Jupiter, the sun, Neptune in Pisces, and the south node in Scorpio. The purpose of embodiment is to experience spirituality materially. I hope I said that right. With the body itself. You feel your emotions through your body. The drops to the stomach, the warmth in your chest, the burning in your throat. You're going to be feeling your emotions in your body, and maybe somebody else's emotions in your body if you're psychic. And I want you to know what to do with them when they come up. They're going to manifest. You'll feel it. Allow them to come up so that they can leave, and that you can move that energy out through you. This is going to be very emotional. If there's going to be a waterworks, Wednesday it starts, it just climaxes on the weekend. This has to happen for you to be able to release the pain of some lessons you've learned so you can really proceed on the living of your more enlightened life. So this is like a huge purge, like the South Node in Scorpio. You're purging, you're letting go of some unhealthy codependencies. You're letting go of some ways of behaving, ways of thinking, ways of operating. And it's like a spiritual release. It's an emotional release, but it's also uplifting. It's also very, very, very uplifting. This can be like the shedding of something as you rise for something else. I keep thinking of that Ode de Shrella and the Sublime. This is like a very heavy, it's like a very heavy mug. That's why I'm using 2 hands, okay. End of Saturday going into Sunday, that grand trine then becomes a kite. So it's like this, and then like over here, there's something else. So it's like this thing going through, and it looks like a little kite. Okay. That moon in Cancer, it's still grand water trining. It's opposing Pluto in Capricorn, because the moon in Cancer is going to the end degrees, opposing Pluto in Capricorn. It generates activity and a more active push, more than just feeling your feelings. Something physical, material, and structural has to change. So I really like the weekend for really important, necessary changes based off of the truth of your feelings, the truth of the situation, the truth of your emotional reality. But it's part of what making Camelot is. It's part of the process of making heaven on earth. Consciously, this may manifest as an opportunity to resolve something that has been delaying your progress. Pluto wants to give you great endings so that it can give you great beginnings. And vice versa. That it's just structural, deep upheaval. That's why last week was such a big deal, because Pluto was doing that with Mars and with Venus, making them go through the gates before enjoying the social part of it, before you're able to enjoy table at number 9 and all the mutants that you're going to meet that are totally in your vibe, that are your kind of mutant. You've got to purge and release whatever was keeping you from seeing the table, or seeing that you wanted to go sit at that table. Unconsciously, especially if you've been inactive, this can manifest as challenges that are pressuring and motivating you to act. So you might either know what to do and you're doing it, and you're actively doing it, or you're going to feel pressure. Pressure. It basically, the kite, end of Saturday going into Sunday, it provides a trigger to push through any adverse conditions, specifically those of power, control, structure, responsibilities, and integrity. And it lasts until Sunday afternoon. Weird. I don't even feel like I've been here long. It's just really weird. See, this is the new moon in Pisces. I'm just feeling totally timeless. Sunday. The 13th. Decorating Camelot. I love this. Okay, so the kite in grand water trine completes when the moon enters Leo, which immediately opposes Mars and Venus in Aquarius. I love this. I love this for creative, innovative, never before seen, authentic self-expression. Consciously hold the tension between your wonderful ideas and everybody else's. This is where you can take the best of what everybody's channeling and make the best thing if you're collaborating. Unconsciously, on an unconscious level, egos are going to be downright maniacal. They won't even know to be embarrassed by how they're behaving. They will just die on that hill. They will just die on that hill. So, oh, and that's it. That finishes it. Tarot time. Okay. Let's take a look and see if these downloads are coming through or if it's something totally different. What were your downloads? Let me go back up here. We have, oh yeah, that's more like it download, and the heart from Saturday. Hold on. Oh, I'm in the chat again. Oh, thank you guys. Oh, thank you for the super chats. You guys are so sweet. I'll go back and I'll read these. Oh, I love you guys. Okay, let's take a look. What are the messages for this week ahead for my people? Whomever I may be channeling. message am I here to deliver? Ooh. The Knight of Pentacles to start. Oh, sometimes it floats down really pretty, but sometimes, okay. So we're starting with the Knight of Pentacles. So that's you. If you continue on, let's see what happens. But this is you continuing on. This is like, you know what? I'm gonna stick with what I've started. But that might change. Let's take a look. Tell me about another person. Tell me about another person. Ooh. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, so another person in the situation that you're dealing with this week, they might be a child. They might be an actual child. They might be a little baby, or they're just filled to the brim of creativity or love or care, or they're very emotional. They're very for some of you, this is a very deep and emotional apology. But for some of you, this is a very, just like, a very fertile imagination, very, very fertile imagination, a very youthful, fresh, hardworking. I like that you have the Knight and the Page of Pentacles. Like, this is just like someone that's able to, so the page starts, they start their work, they start with their honesty and integrity, and it's through those traits that they become the Knight of Pentacles, and then they become the King of Pentacles or the Queen. But with this Ace of Cups, it's like they could be, this is also like an energy of like journaling or writing or logging, tasking. So this could be someone that's a very creative writer. They could be a creative, emotional writer. They could be if they're a child, they're a very serious child. They're like a very serious, deep, wise child. For some of you, this can be a new project. This can be a whole new thing that's very emotionally charged. Like, you're very inspired. So if you're like, don't start anything, especially now that you're not authentically from the heart inspired to do. That will be a total disaster, and you might not even know it until November. So yeah. Okay, how does this situation, not everyone's on board with what you've got going on here. This is a test, though. This is a test for you. Tell me about the Knight of Pentacles. Ooh. The Eight of Wands. That's the only card that came upright. Wow. So there's a lot going on. I feel like this is a very solid, stable person. Like, if this is you, you're just like you're able to have this kind of mobility because you are balanced, because you are calm and serene and focused and diligent. So you may be really, really busy. You may be getting all of your ducks in a row. You may be working really hard, but you're only able to do all of this because you're so focused, because you've really like got it all together. Like, you got your SHIT all together. This person over here. Tell me about the Page of Pentacles and this Ace of Cups, please. What do we need to know about this other person? Oh, the Nine of Wands. A lot of wands so far. So this can be very like business. This can be entrepreneurial. This can be passion, speaking to the passions. That Nine of Wands is like, it's really interesting that this is showing up, because you don't get this energy from this person. This person looks so much more emotionally youthful and free and giving and open. they might appear to be so open and accessible, but really they've survived so much. Like, they've seen a thing or two. You might not know that about them. It might not. And I always thought that about myself. Like, I never wanted to look like what's happened to me. I never wanted to look, like rough. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never wanted to wear my life on my face. Like, so I kind of get that with this. I kind of get that someone might have been, they may have some war stories, like some real stories. But like on the surface, they may be very, you would not, people would judge them as totally not. Okay, that's what you need to know, I guess. Okay, tell me about this is more of a test. This is like that petty stuff I was telling you about in the weekly. So it's like there may be some okay, here's what's interesting. So if this is you appeared as you are, like you are very solid and you're secure and you know what you want and you proceed and you are diligent and hardworking and you know that if you just continue on a course that you'll get it done. You're moving something around. There's something that you've got going on here. You're looking at this person. If this is like a candidate, you might think that, oh, they're very young or they're very immature or they don't have experience or they're naive or they're idealistic or you might not really get that, all that's underneath. This is more like an old soul that doesn't appear to be there's something different about how they appear and then what they've actually been through. They look so open. They look so giving. They look so accessible. But really, underneath the surface, this is called the wounded warrior. This little dude has like this little, as you can see, his little bandage on his head. And see how he's looking out like, this person has held on. They've held on by a thread, but they don't let that, I'm busy, but they don't let that show, like they don't walk around saying, boo-hoo, I've been through all of these things, I've been through, like for instance, look at these citizens of Ukraine. They are being victimized. But they're not victims. Do you see the difference? This is what I try to explain to people. They do not understand. But this happened to me. This happened to me. Yes. Yes, it did. There's a difference in mentality. This person does not go around talking and making excuses for themselves and like there's not, they've been through it though. They have the experience and they have good boundaries and they know how to protect their precious parts of themselves, and they've held on. But you might be looking at them as sort of beneath you or inexperienced somehow. Tell me about the Five of Wands. Why is the Five of Wands here? What do they need to know? Whoever's watching, what do they need to know about this Five of Wands? What message am I here? They're lying to you. All the people that oppose you, they're lying to you. All the people that are against you, they're lying to you. All the people that try to convince you to go against your heart, they're lying to you. Big surprise. They're using their words specifically. It's like the silver tongue. I would say don't let that happen. Don't let them take something precious away from you. Don't let them criticize what you want or like or love to the point where you deprive yourself of it. But this is your personal test. If I get myself super emotional about saving you from this fate, I take on that karma. I can't do that. You've got to earn this. You've got to come through the other side and champion what you're going to champion and get what you Get what you really want. I don't think they're going to win, but just know that they're going to try. They're going to try. Honestly, I love that you're showing up as a Knight of Pentacles, because you are just like immovable. It's like you're immovable, but you are working on something. Ooh, look, you have the King of Pentacles, bottom of the deck, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Page of Wands. Okay, we did not get one major arcana in this reading, and so I'm using this as a teachable moment. An example, we have one powerful ace, the Ace of Cups. This is the Holy Grail, by the way. This is my cup runneth over. So whatever this person has, whether it's love, romance, if they're very creative, if they're very spiritual, they have it in abundance. It never runs out, if that makes sense. When you have a spread like this where there's no major arcana, or where there's more minor arcana than major, it means that you are totally 100% of your own volition in control of the outcome of your reading. So all of these events are extremely self-determined. You choose. Okay. So overall, now we have a King of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, and the Page of Wands. Someone is making their mind up. Someone is making their decision. I like this because I feel like they're a team. I feel like the King and the Knight and the Page, I feel like they're all a team. But it might be a team that other people or someone doesn't like, or they resent, or they're trying to, it's like you can clearly see that these are all the same suit. The King of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles. But it's almost like the others, like whoever these petty little people are, it's almost like they're trying to convince one or all of you that you're not of the same suit. Did you see what happened with my throat there? We read the omens here. That's someone doesn't want me to say that. That's even more true. Someone's going to try to convince you that this person or someone is not like you, or they're not real, or they're not of the same suit. But you know what? Gooble gobble is what I have to say. Gooble gobble. Gooble gobble. One of us. We accept her. They're going to try to deceive you with that. They're going to try to convince you that they're going to try to get you to doubt yourself. But you know what's funny is that they're the ones on the outside. And I don't even know if they know that. Like, they're the ones that have been the outcasts the entire time. Does that make sense? And it could be that one of these people, when these three get together, it's clear that it just works because they are of the same suit. I'll just say the same suit. And they're going to sense that, and they're going to feel like that they're on like an outside, or they're an otherness, or they're going to feel that. This person's taking a little bit of time to make a very careful decision, but I would trust all three of these people. I would definitely trust the King of Pentacles. This is someone that thinks very long term. And what's interesting is that they're very excited. So I like to see someone very serious to be this excited. There could be something happening with an investment or something that's been taking a very long time to come to fruition. I like this person. I always like a Knight of Pentacles because they're very trustworthy. They're very solid. They're very dependable. And I like the Page of Pentacles because that's always someone that's just starting. They're like an apprentice, or they're just starting in an industry or a business or their craft. But they use their honesty and their integrity to get ahead. They use it's like they start on their word. They start on their bond. And that builds into the reputation of the King of Pentacles. So the King of Pentacles was one time a knight, one time a page. So I really like this reading, actually. I know people get way more excited when we get like all these major arcana, but honestly, this is like very workable. This is very like actionable. This is like something, things are happening that you're doing and that other people are doing, that everyone's affecting each other by this week. So it's less fate and destiny, and it's more like you choosing what your destiny is and acting on that. So honestly, all you have to do is just trust yourself. Trust yourself to know the people that feel right to you at your table number 9. Because other people are going to get jealous, other people are going to be petty, other people are going to try to convince you that you don't know what you're talking about. And it's because they know what you know. They know what everybody knows. But they're going to try to use some kind of tactic, or they're going to try to use, I don't know, maybe societal standards, or maybe, I don't know, maybe racism, maybe misogyny, maybe some kind of divisiveness. They're going to try to use some kind of other to cut in between these people. When the reality is that if you just go by the vibe, it's the right vibe. It's the same. Ooh, that's your confirmation. It's the right vibe. It's the same vibe. And what I love the most is that they're all pentacles, like they're trustworthy. These are grounded, serious, deep individuals. And I like how they all have something very motion rich happening under the surface. Like this is the highest mentor. This would be the Godfather. This would be the Don Vito Corleone. Okay. This would be Michael. Okay. So it's like this person still has like, they're still wily. They still have passion. They still have the ability to be, I'm getting the spark. It's like, and this is the spark. So it's like the spark has been lit in this person, and that's moving, and that's consuming, that's being lit up. The fire sits on a blue throne that devours everything beneath it, the debris beneath it, the dead matter beneath it, the wick. That's another confirmation. Okay. That's a spark. And then the Knight of Pentacles, Michael over here. That's so true, because Michael Corleone is just like, you do, because we were watching the movie, but you like so much happening under the surface. So this person looks very stoked, but there's so much happening under the surface. There's a lot that they're thinking about, that they're putting together, that they're imagining, that they are mobilizing, that they're excited about. So there's passion under this person. A lot. And then this person over here, they're a little bit more visibly moved, but it's because they're either new, or they're just starting out, or it's an actual child. But it's interesting because what's under their surface is the opposite. So these people are looking very strong and mature and very adult, and underneath they have like perfect access to their subliminal self, and they know what makes them excited. They know what gets them fired up. They know what the spark is, and they know what that feels like. Whereas this childlike person over here, they're seeming to be very open and seeming to be a little bit more youthful, but underneath it's the opposite. Underneath they're older and serious, and they've been through a lot, and that's really interesting actually, how it's kind of reversed with like these two people that are older and more mature. Underneath is that subliminal self, that childlike quality. But this person has a childlike quality that's more visible, and underneath they're like that older person on the inside. That's a guidance. Confidence is your key to success. New Moon in Leo energy. Again, about following the heart. Ooh, what do you need to release? Waning Moon energy. You need to release whatever is heavy. Whatever is keeping you from feeling confident in what your heart wants and what your heart is telling you that the spark is. I feel like you already know this is your confirmation. Release whatever's heavy. And I'm telling you, just like in The Godfather, when he's told him that whoever comes to you first, whoever asks for a meeting first, whoever told you first, whoever wants this first, that's the one. Oh, what was his name? It starts with a B. Balsar? The guy that I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but just like he told him, I am telling you, whoever tries to knock this down and convince you otherwise, that someone is not belonging at the table, those are the ones that are really on the outside. Okay? Gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble. I love you forever and ever and always. Take very, very good care, my loves. Until next week, my dears, many, many, many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful heads, darlings. Best of luck to you. I know that you'll do great. Take care. Mwah.